The third talk that I looked at was called Is MTTR Still Relevant in a Modern Cloud-Native World? By Martin Mao. So MTTR, it comes from defense back in the 60s. It was being taken into the software world. It's this metric everyone talks about and uses to measure reliability or effectiveness. His first point was around, what does the R mean? Is it repair? Is it recover? Is it respond? Is it resolve? There's a lack of clarity because these words mean different things. The other criticism he mentioned was that we use mean or the average, which has drawbacks. And I'm glad to see him mention that because I've been criticizing the use of averages and actually percentiles for many years. And we don't use enough analysis of raw data, which he didn't mention, but that's something I thought of. And I'll mention a little bit more about that in a second. So his point really was that we use the mean time to, let's say, repair, and that smooths out outliers. And so we're not seeing these really bad times to recovery that are occurring. But it also, from my experience, drags up what, based on outliers, it'll drag up what that average is or the mean is. So it might seem like everything is constantly quite slow, but actually there was just one really, really, really slow recovery or repair. The other thing is that repair, MTTR, when we talk about repair, it has a focus on underlying technology as opposed to customer. And I totally agree with that. I think that we should be tracking reliability by tracking how our customers are going. Or say, are we meeting SLOs? How are they changing? Or SLAs? That should be our focus, not is the technology working. I think the main point from this whole talk is that we can't just take these ideas, these metrics from the industry, and just apply them to our organization thoughtlessly. We have to stop and think about our unique context in our organization, our teams, our technologies. What are the questions that we want our observability to answer? And what indicators make the most sense to answer those questions? And there's no shortcut to do that. One of the points that he made is that he thinks we should be looking at the time to remediate. So not to go in and actually fix the issue, but let's say we make a deployment and it has a negative impact on the customer and we just immediately roll back, So what's the time till we roll back? Because at that point, we have taken away our customer's pain. That should be what we care about. And I really like that. It's a customer focus. We don't see enough of it. I like that. And then because we roll back, then we can take time as engineers to properly go and investigate and resolve whatever the underlying issue was. So that I like that. And he proposed a new metric, which is the worst time to remediate. Because he thinks the mean is bad. We think we should focus on those high outliers. I'm not so sure about that. I think that, let's say we took the 99th percentile to look at the 99th percentile of how long it took to remediate issues and just to look at those really poor outliers. I think that tells a particular story, but it also hides what's genuinely going on as well. And this is where I think raw data can have some value here. Maybe, just maybe, we can't just have one metric to tell us everything. Because that's unfortunately the case. This is more complex than that. Why not have a chart, a scatter plot, which shows you all of your incidents and how long it took to remediate them. So you've got a scatter of everything that's going on to give you the full picture, nothing hidden. There's still a place for aggregated metrics. Of course there are. Averages and percentiles, they'll be part of our life. But why not have raw data for this? I think that provides, in a lot of cases, a very clear picture. And you'll see those outliers popping up. And then you'll see what generally happens most of the time as well. And you'll see changes. So at a certain time of day, were all of the points that are higher because it takes longer to repair at a certain time of day. Patterns like that. So yeah, I really like the focus on customer that he had. I'd say there's a place for raw data and scatters in all of this. And another thing that got me thinking about is the importance of being able to quickly and reliably roll back deployments if there's an issue. So first of all, you need to be able to have the right observability in place to see that there's an issue with the customers. But then being able to roll back is so powerful. If you cannot roll back, then that's a real handbrake on agility, because there's so much more fear about making changes to production. Because if you put a thing in production and it breaks everything, there's no going back. Or it's going to be a really long time before you can remediate the problem.